All right, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your Friday sit rep, coming to you live from the great state of Texas, about 1 p.m. Central Time on October 8th, 2021. And so without further ado, let's hop over to the board. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification. And right now, let's see, we're sitting at about 332 up, which is a little light for a Friday. But it's still, you know, a good, decent amount. 250 is a regular kind of baseline for us. And so have a couple items of interest we'll go over here. We do have this sentry that's been kind of hanging out down just I guess northeast of El Paso, or Biggs Army Airfield. And so you can see them doing a little circles. So they're definitely collecting some data down here. They've been doing it pretty consistently now for weeks. Okay, and so we'll continue to look at that. And let's see, hopefully you can't hear my dogs barking, because never fails. The minute I go live, they go ballistic at the door for something. So, all right. Anyway, that said, let's get over here to Flashbang Schedule. We'll come back and look at this here in just a minute. I did want to point out, too, that it looks interesting that we have a lot more traffic over Florida when Trump is down here. Just an observation, but, you know, not sure if it's protection or if it's going to be actually something along the lines of watching, you know, because you know they are certainly watching every movie he makes. And so we'll keep our eye on that, and just to see what kind of aircraft. Normally we get that little R-135 or 703 out here running routes off of the coast when he's down here. So we'll see if they continue that. And then we do have this one right here, which I thought was interesting. This is called Hawk 15. It came up out of Canada. But the altitude on that dude is 56,000 feet. So my guess is that is probably going to be something more along the lines of a drone of some sort. But why it's coming into the U.S., I don't know. But we'll keep an eye on that one too, all right? All right, now, this is going to be volcanic activity. I just want to point out, I think we're sitting at 10 or 11. We got 11 volcanoes right now spewing ash, right? And so these, and the reason I report on these is because ash is a disruptor for aviation. And so, but yeah, these are all ash spewers. So it is a pretty active day. 11, it started out at 10 this morning. So that's a pretty interesting data point, just pointing that out. La Palma still is going off. And that is basically the other day that airport was closed, and it's looking like that is going to be continual irritant for that area. And then this one over here in Russia, or sorry, that's Japan. Sorry, Russia's a little further north, but now that one is also spewing a lot, and so that will disrupt travel as well. So, okay, let's get over here to Flashbang Schedule, and we can see he starts killing the Candy Crush about 9:30 in the morning. And this I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure it is not good for any of us. But it looks like he signed something into law. The Havana Act of 2021 and a K-12 Cybersecurity Act. So, yeah, there's that. And let's see, what else has he got? He's got at 11:30. He's delivering the remarks for September jobs report, which, by the way, is significantly less than what they were projecting. They were looking at 500,000 for job growth, and it's at 194,000 or something like that. So pretty low. I think a good indicator on what's coming. But now here's the other one here. We do have this one I thought was kind of interesting. That right there, folks, is probably a land grab. Anytime they start talking about national monuments and you know, protecting and conserve, I guess to better conserve and restore lands and waters. Yeah, that's going to be the Bureau of Land Management is probably showing up at somebody's property and taking some land. All right, and then Peppermint Patty is on at 2:30 with her no press release. And then I think Flashbang heads out to Delaware this evening. And so we'll see that on the TFR schedule as well. So let's pop on over to that while we're talking about it. All right, so here is our active TFRs for today. We can see the Delaware thing in play right above the Senior Living Center no-fly zone. This is, I say no-fly zone, TFR, sorry, brown zone. Now, this one right here is Air Show. This up here is a VIP for Bob Marley because she's headed up there to New Jersey. And other than that, it really is kind of some normal stuff out there. Now, we do have these out in Kansas. These are probably let's just kind of bump in and see what we got going on here. Hazards. So, don't know what that is. It's pipeline stuff. All right. So there is that. And then still going to point out the fact that we have lost our TFR over the border right here. And I think that's significant. So just pay close attention to that, because again, losing a TFR, and then we've got a November 1 date where a mandate's coming into play, and people are going to be actually, for Customs and Border Patrol, getting released. And so we will not have them on the border if they do not follow the mandate, which means with this crisis of inflow of people coming in, and the timing of that could be pretty bad. So it may be time for Texans to start coming down to the border and start handling this stuff ourselves. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think that road isn't far off, folks. I'll be honest with you. All right. Okay. Now let's get over here real fast. I just want to point out, because we're going to look at the flight. This is Secretary of State headed down to Mexico to discuss overhaul of drug cartel strategy. So I guess what they're saying is it's not working. All right. Well, that's obviously when you have an open border, your strategy is going to be a bit flawed. Okay. But this is going to be his flight going down there. That actually took off yesterday out of Mountain View, California, and it rolled in about 1 a.m. down to Mexico City. And so that's taking place today. But if you happen to see that flight go, that's what that was. That's one of your blue and white presidential birds. Okay. All right. Now, here's the other interesting flight for the day. This is actually going to be your sniffer, and landed 32 minutes ago. But just note the location. It's in Bedford, Massachusetts, which is kind of interesting. Why, oh, why? That right there, folks, that's a worry. They are definitely worried about something nuclear or biological or chemical up here in the Boston area. When they run routes like that coming out of DC, and they deploy that bad dude up to an area, and you see him doing this, that is because they are worried. Okay, so you can see him getting some pretty heavy duty traffic right there. And then let's see what their altitude was. So this is Yellow Line's airspeed. So their altitude, you can see them, they're dipping down almost ground level, getting samples up and down all the way across. So yeah, that, and those not familiar with this sniffer, it is not Marine One. It is actually a helo that is designed to do air samples, air quality samples. And they're not looking for carbon monoxide or any kind of, car emissions or anything like that. This thing is specific to looking at, isotopes, like nuclear isotopes, and just different things that are going to be in the atmosphere if there were a dirty bomb or there's something along the lines of chemical, etc. So, or biological, anything really. These guys, pretty intense instrumentation on this thing. So, been around a while, and they have definitely perfected it. They've got another one that's out in Vegas that is also doing the same thing, and then they have a Cessna that they fly that does the same thing. So, okay. Now, here's another one that I thought was of interest, and this is actually going to be a Loma 70. Now, this was yesterday flying around El Paso. I'm just going to show you guys. This is Biggs Army Airfield. This is El Paso, and you can see them out running routes. These circles are cell tower grabs. So when they're starting to do that, looks like they've got 4 areas where they did cell tower grabs. My guess is that they have some folks in the mix here from Afghanistan that are coming in that are a concern. And so these are probably, and to be honest with you, probably a white hat operation going on where they're gathering data to try and catch these folks because we didn't screen them too well. So there is that one. So that's the first one. Next one is Loma 88, and that is actually today at 8:45 this morning. And it is still currently flying. It looks like it's doing some little touch and goes or something out here at the runway now. But it was out earlier this morning. You can see them running across down this valley along the highway there, and then up here in the hills, and then doing some little, I guess they had some areas of interest here. Okay, so there's that one. And then there's the Loma 26, which is another one. It landed 1 hour, 48 minutes ago. Same area. This is Biggs Army Airfield right here. And then looks like they were running out a little more west or northwest from there and running routes. So very interesting just to see the fact that we are actually doing a lot of surveillance out in that general area right now, which is just goes to tell you really the fact that these folks coming in were not screened really well, and we have some concerns, big concerns, because this is more than I've ever seen out here in this area in all my time of watching these flights. So just a data point, but we need to pay close attention to that, especially if things start to drop off and our Border Patrol ends up disappearing on us. And so going to be interesting. Okay. Now, I wanted to point out something else as we're talking about the border real fast. Notice that the Idaho governor, lieutenant, are actually fighting over the National Guard deployment to the U.S.-Mexico border. So evidently the lieutenant governor of Idaho is starting to ruffle some feathers because they see a need to assist Texas down on the border, and the Idaho governor is against it. But the lieutenant governor is not, and she's trying to get some folks down there. So I just find that an interesting data point. Of course, they show a tank, but yeah, this just goes to show you that everybody's a little concerned about Abbott and the fact that they don't think he has enough folks down here to stop what's coming. And so this Air Force Times, pretty reputable, news source. And so anyway, pay attention to this, because if you got other governors from other states worrying about it, then we in Texas need to be paying very close attention and maybe worrying about ourselves. It may be time to form a militia and get down on the border and start helping these folks out. Just because it's I don't know how they're going to stop it unless he deploys a bunch of National Guard, which I think 1,400 ain't going to cut it. Okay, not with 60,000 people coming. So. All right, so tighten your strings, folks. This one may get a little interesting here in the coming weeks, okay? All right. Now, speaking of Biggs Army Airfield, let's just kind of take a look at what's been coming and going on the arrival and departure board. I will show you that, or I will tell you that these numbers are definitely on the uptick. So I don't know what's going on, if these are coming in dry or empty. And then departing, but this is where they're heading to. Now, my guess is they're rehoming the poppies from Afghanistan. That's going to be heading to Lafayette, Louisiana. We've got them going to New Orleans. We have them headed to Baton Rouge. And that is where they are, at least on the board right now for today. And then we've got these scheduled. And you'll notice that they're coming back from these locations for the most part, except for, well, actually, take that back. You got one coming back from Baton Rouge, but looks like you've got some fresh legs coming in from Lauderdale and Tallahassee, and they are not on the outbound schedule just yet. And so we will watch to see what happens there. Looks like you got some folks headed over to Tucson as well. So they are pumping them out, and I think it's because it's a pretty good indicator that they're about to pump them in. Because as soon as they get these guys cleared out, the next wave is coming. And I've been watching the other bases, Holloman and Volk and all these other ones that we were seeing a lot of activity, and we are not. The boards are clear. There's nothing showing, so they don't appear to be putting people into those locations yet. Okay, so we'll continue to watch it. Somebody's got to keep them honest, right? And so, all right, now in that same area and region, this is going to be the Texas Department of Public Safety. And this was actually this morning, around the same time as the other bird was flying up there and I guess northwest of this, and up in El Paso at Biggs. This was happening over here in Del Rio, which is a little bit further away, but you can see they are very concerned with the border there. Look to be doing some routes around the highway here. And then, of course, just north of that also, they seem to have a lot of interest. So this would probably indicate we've got some foot traffic or something along those lines that got across the border, and they're trying to, get a beat on them. So, okay, now over to Guantanamo Bay. Let me just make sure I don't have anything else as I hit the wrong button on my screen. Yeah, my mouse work today is stellar, folks. All right, let's see here. I think we're okay. Yeah, okay, I covered it. Just making sure I didn't have anything over here in my scenes that I was supposed to hit, other than the wrong scene. So, all right, now this is going to be Guantanamo Bay. This looks to be normal traffic in and out. Now, we're paying close attention to this because I think when the next influx comes into play, we may see some alternate traffic coming into this. Remember that Flashbang was actually talking about 2 weeks ago about standing up an immigration, a migrant camp, so to speak, on Guantanamo Bay. And then he went very quiet about it. But since then, I've seen a couple flights come in, C-130s that were, kind of off radar, as well as some those camber flights come in that didn't make it on the board. That could certainly be bringing in, all the equipment to put up a tent city, so to speak. Okay. And so I think, in my opinion, based on that we probably have some stuff already assembled, ready to go. And they're just waiting. I think they were also probably waiting for the media to clear out from the 9/11 hearings. They didn't want them seeing that because that would probably cause a pretty big ruckus. And if you look at some of the articles going around, you can see why. Okay. Here's one. This was Newsweek, and this was about 2 weeks ago, where Homeland Security is actually rejecting the claims that the Haitian migrants at the border will be sent to Guantanamo Bay, even though we've seen a lot of indicators that they actually are doing that. So, but this is a very big administration that tells you one thing and does a complete opposite. All right. So just because they give a little bit of a presser to Newsweek about this doesn't mean it is real. Okay. Now, here's another one I thought was interesting, and this bad dude definitely didn't make its front pages. But the Biden administration is sending migrants in chains back to Haiti as it prepares Guantanamo Bay camp. All right. Now, what is interesting about that is this is actually a Haitian refugee, actually multiple Haitian refugees that are describing that when they were deported by plane, that they were put into chains. And then a quote is, "They chained me like a slave." So, yeah, you didn't see that hit the headlines. Instead, you saw a cowboy on down on the, border of Texas, which is what we do on Texas border. So, yeah, that didn't make it. But, yeah, this would indicate, though, that they are definitely going to be standing up that migrant camp if it's not already ready to go. Okay. Okay. Now, the other thing, too, we always look at some of the flights that come in and out of Guantanamo Bay because, we know these are agency birds and we just kind of like to keep a beat on them. From time to time, they do kind of disengage and do other work because we've actually caught them doing that. But this one is 301 AZ. Now, it was just at Guantanamo Bay, as you guys saw earlier. Okay. This is today. Rolled in and departed around 10:32 a.m. And then from there, it actually landed in Lauderdale. And at 2:04, okay, to 2:33, Bradenton. And then notice that it's going from Sarasota, Bradenton up to Martha's Vineyard. I think that's just kind of an interesting flight. And so you can see that bad dude is en route now over here. And so Martha's Vineyard. All right, there is that. Now, next one we want to look at, it's going to be N721AL. Now, this is Department of No Justice, and they are currently in Idaho Falls en route, probably look like they're headed eastbound. And so the other day, they rolled out of D.C., went over to Omaha. Okay, Omaha over to Idaho. So they may be coming back to Omaha from here and then on to Manassas. So they probably dropped the team in Omaha and then took some folks up to Idaho. And now they're actually like they're headed home back for the weekend. So we'll have to watch the news to see if anything pops on this. But I have a feeling some of this is tied to some of these sealed indictments. Okay. Okay. Now, this is going to be your Department of Homeland Security director. And landed a day ago. And he's down here in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, just important to note that Charleston, for those not aware, has 17 federal, organizations down here at that location. So everything from FEMA to Homeland Security to, you know, whatever it may be, they're all housed right there. So it's kind of a big area with a bunch of federal, you know, training facilities and all kinds of different stuff. So that could be why they're down here. But we always like to keep tabs on where they go. Okay. All right. Now, let's see here. I'm going to point out one thing because I thought this was pretty cool. I've been digging around a little bit today on the sky glass thing. Now, if anybody's interested in this, there is actually a location you go to. It's free. It's a public beta that's out now, open. I really think this is going to be kind of the wave of the future as we look at you know, flights and just a more little 3D look to it. But it's at skyglassapp.com, and you can find more on that. But this is actually over Europe. These are aircraft that are up. Now, I thought this was interesting. We had a little tanker. This is a 135, KC-135 that's out over, let's just Syria here. So it's kind of over Iraq, Baghdad area. Now, this doesn't give you kind of a true, because you're looking at it from the side. It looks like it's a little further north than that. But looks like they're up over that area right now. So they probably got some fighters up over Baghdad and that general area. But this is kind of a cool little tool. Again, I'm still trying to figure this thing out, but lots of different ways to navigate with it. You can use game, you know, joysticks from games and stuff like that. But I've got to figure out how to get, you know, a little more organized before I start showing this as my main deal. But if you're interested, again, it's a free beta that's out there. It's got an app. It's called skyglassapp.com, and you can get out there and just kind of tool around with it and tinker. But it's really cool. If you get over here to the U.S., let's see here. That would not be the U.S. Let me back up. It gets a little heavier here. So looks like we've got helo down here in Puerto Rico, but you can see the congestion right now. It matches what we have on our other map. It's just more of a 3D kind of look, but very cool. And you can basically go in and you know, kind of dig around and look at the flights closer. It is cool too, because you can also get some eyes on higher altitude stuff. Like this Hawk 15 right here. If you notice, it is significantly higher than most of the other stuff on the horizon as you get in there. That's the one that we were showing. Actually, it's showing as a Q4. Let's dig in a little bit here. Yeah, it's a drone, Q4 drone. So that altitude is what kind of gave it away. The 56,100 feet is that's it's higher than most planes are up there. I mean, B-52s get up there in the stratosphere, but drones are unmanned and they don't have really, you know, have to worry about the cockpit, you know, and safety and things of that nature in terms of a pilot. So yeah, so he's up. It looks like he's headed out towards the West Coast. So there is that. And that, let me back out. I'm going to go ahead and get back to our regular map. But like I said, it's a pretty cool little app, and I do certainly intend on getting over and using it more as we go forward, because it's I think it's a wave of the future. And so the guy's done a really good job with it. Really good job with it. So, all right, let's just break down what we got here over the U.S. right now. We do have a bunch of trainers out in just kind of south, central, and north Texas up into Oklahoma. That's kind of a usual thing, pretty regular. Out here over Florida, we had several P8s that were out this morning. They look like they've gone away since then. Of course, our screen will start to marinate a little bit, and we'll get some more on there as we sit and leave it for a minute. But I have been seeing a lot of two ships of C-130s, a lot of them, and then a lot of C-17s seem to be up, but that's a normal Friday thing. You know, we kind of see that. Now, this is an E6 that's out over the DC area. You can see them working. Now, that's a Airborne Command Center, for those not familiar with that. But you can get a little closer look. That's kind of a cool shot, actually, of this one. So don't really ever see that underbelly. But anyway, that dude is up over the northeast, and like I said, you'll see Flashbang on the move here later on today. So, all right. And then down here, San Diego, looks like we got a lot of helo activity right up on the border. These are H-53s. Pretty good size helos. Got another one on the ground. So actually 4 of them up, which is pretty rare. You don't see those very often. Kind of like looking at ospreys, you know, but, and then some H-60s. Again, that's all on the border. And let me see here. C-17 and an air refueler. It's headed like at northeast. So, okay. All right, let me back out just a tad. I'm going to get over, just kind of take a look and see if we got any activity. Hawaii, we got a C-17 out. Looks like that one is just taking off out of Hawaii. But over here in Japan and this area, Taiwan, not seeing any kind of traffic at all, which is interesting. And nothing really on Australia. That may just be the time of day. But we're going to keep our eye on this area because I think it's about to go hot personally. So we'll see. All right. Okay. Well, listen, that's going to be our sit rep for today. So pat yourselves on the back. You've survived another week of tyranny. And we'll be back on Monday with our next sit rep. And let's see what happens if we get any changes. Going to be interesting over the next, I think, 30, 45 days with just all the things that are on the horizon, and with the flow of people coming to the border and the mandate, I think is going to be going to have a big impact on things. So, all right, that's going to do it. You guys hold the line. Stay frosty. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.